I am always learning new things, new approaches, new ways of looking at things. And one of the things I love about that is sometimes I will take an issue that's been something I'm working on for a really long time and I get a new way of looking at it. And when I get a new way of looking at it, it's like a whole new spectrum of aspects to it open up, making available whole new levels of healing. I have been learning neuro-linguistic programming recently and now hypnotherapy and have new ways of approaching working with the same old issues that I and everybody else have been managing for a really long time. And somebody asked me a question. How are you wired to money? It's like, I hadn't asked that question before, or nobody had asked me that question before. And I was like, a new way of working with this issue with money. Now, as I am doing neuro-linguistic programming, realizing the importance of the individual words, the way that something is said, the words that are used to describe something, the words alone or the combination of words alone have meanings that get attached just to that. So if I were to say something in one way and then just say it slightly differently, it can change the meaning. Now, why does that happen? Because when something happens in a time that's traumatic or difficult or there's loss or whatever, it can get attached to the whole circumstance as it occurred, including the words that were used to describe it. And if you describe the situation or something going on in the situation with different words, the meaning can be different. The charge attached to it can be different. So, say, just to make something up, when you were a child, your father said, "You'll never be good for anything." And you, as a child, have a trauma attached to those words. You will never be good for anything. And if you take a similar sort of statement, you don't know what you're doing, it wouldn't have the same charge to it. You take that person, you will never be good at anything, and you put them in an adult situation, and somebody says, you will never be good at anything, that would really trigger that person. But if somebody else said, you don't know what you're doing, you can't do that, it wouldn't have the same weight to it. It wouldn't have the same meaning to it because of the words, the specificity of the words. Now, you've heard me talk about for a while that sound is powerful. Sound is creative. The words you say matter. And this is part of why all of this energy, this trauma, all of this history gets attached to the specific words. So somebody asked me, how are you wired to money? And it's like, that particular question had never been asked before. And it opens up a whole new exploration for me of healing around issues with money. And again, as I'm doing neuro-linguistic programming, the specific words matter. When I'm working with a client on an issue, the words they use to describe their situation or what's going on for them, I am writing them down like crazy because I want to give back to them those exact words because those words have meaning for them. So looking at this new ways of looking at money, which is the topic I'm talking about today, really applies to anything. What issue have you been dealing with for a long time approaching it the same way as always, and then suddenly something new comes in. A new approach, new words, a new way of working with it, a new approach. That's why, part of why I use multiple different methods. I do the MAP method, I do biofield tuning, I do human design, and now I do NLP. All of these different things are each going to approach an issue in a slightly different way, giving me more access to changing it, to really getting in to the specifics that enable me to have a whole new level of freedom in that area. What about you? Do you have issues that you've been stuck in for a long time and you want to have more freedom? Building your business. Are there things that you've been doing to try to get more clients and it's not really been working? Maybe a different approach can help you get to it differently. Another thing you've heard me say is getting an outside of my head perspective. Working with somebody else gives me ways of approaching my issue that I wouldn't have thought of. Like when that person asked me, how are you wired to money? A whole new question opened up new ways to work with it, new levels of healing. So, change happens one action at a time. Expecting myself to just be over it, no, it doesn't work that way. It's a little bit at a time. And as I add these different modalities, these different approaches, my personal healing has increased. I am thinking this neuro-linguistic programming is going to add a big piece. I know it certainly is for me. Had some big breakthroughs lately. So, what about you? How would you like support in those conversations that have been going on in your head for a long, long time, so that you can have new freedom, more success in your business? I would love to talk with you. Now, I have a fall fire sale special going on right now. I'm going to put information about it below. And then if you are interested in doing some neuro-linguistic programming, I don't have that included in the fall fire sale, but we can talk about that as well. I combine all these different things together so that you get the benefit of these multiple approaches. All right? So I look forward to hearing from you about how are you approaching those same old conversations in different ways and how that's working. Have a terrific day.